Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning. We shall make a start. Let's do Radha Madhav first of all, and then we discuss verse 2 today. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girdhari Gopijana Vallabha Girdhari Yashodanandan Vrajjanaram Yashodanandan Vrajjanaram Yamuna Tirvanchari Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Bol. Right, so let's do some prayers now and then we'll get straight on. Hare Bol. Om Agyantimritasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tismai Shri Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajim Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shivichakamitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Vishwa Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pran Mami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatu Brihescha Kirpa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangam Nagyate Grim Yat Kirpata Madashi Guru Din Taranam Pramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Maskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Sasvityasam Tato Jay Mudiriyat Nashta Prisha Vidreshu Nityam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki Jai. Okay. Right, so verse 2, now we're in Abhideya, which is the process of how to complete that relationship. So I shall share now. Okay, can everybody see that? I think that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay. So start the verse. Dharma projita ketvothara paramo nirma saranam satam vedyam vastvam atra vastu shivadam patro mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Pare Ishvara Sadhyo Hirdi Avridiyate Tra Kitvi Shushrushabhistatchanat. So Dharma, as religiosity, Projita, completely rejected, Ketava, covered by fruitive intention, Atra herein, Paramaha, the highest, Nirmat Saranam of 100% pure in heart, Satam, devotees, Vedyam, understandable, Vastavam, factual, Atra herein, Vastu, substance, Shivadam, well-being, Taptraya, threefold miseries, Anmulanam, causing uprooting of, Shrimat, beautiful, Bhagavate, the Bhagavat Puran, Mahamuni, the great sage, Vyastev, Krite, having compiled, Kim, what is, Va, the need, Parahi, others, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Sadhe, at once, Hridi, within the heart, Avrudayate, becomes incompact, Atra herein, Kirtibihi, by the pious man, Shushu, Shubihi, by culture, Tat Shanat, without delay. So completely rejecting all religious activities which are material motivated. It's like, Sarva Dharmam Pratajya. This Bhagavat Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is really reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, in its maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. So that's all you need, Bhagavatam, for God realization. If you don't read Bhagavatam, just chant, you may get God realization, self-realization, but it will take a long time. So if you want to speed up the process, it's important you read Bhagavatam as well. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So just to go over the verse, so Dharma Projita Ketvo completely rejects materially motivated religion, which is Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha, the four Purusharthas. Although they're in the Vedas, they are really for fruity activities. So you got Dharma, religious activity, Artha, you work hard, following the principles of religion, and then you enjoy the fruits of what you have earned, and then if you like, you can go for liberation, but most people stick on three. And Param propounds highest truth. Nirmasaram Satam Vedyam is understandable by devotees who are pure in heart, so non-envious. So it's important to be non-envious. If you have envy in the heart, then Krishna is not going to, it doesn't want to sit in your heart. The holy name that will not sit in your heart if your heart is full of envy. Vastavam Vastu distinguishes the highest reality from illusion. Shivadam, for the welfare of all. Taptraya Mulanam, uproots the threefold miseries. Maha Muni Krite is compiled by Vyasadeva in its maturity and is sufficient for God realization. Kimba Pare, what is the need of any other scripture? Ishvara Sadhya Hriday Avriyudayate, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart at once. Kirtibhi Shushru Subhis Tat Kashanat, as soon as one attentively and submissively hears Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can see how important it is. And how useful it is to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's go to the purport. So religion includes 4 primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally liberation from material bondage. Now, religious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. In other words, eating, sleeping, faring, and mating are the 4 principles of animal life. So, in other words, if we are doing all these 4 things, then animals are also doing. So, what's the difference between us and the animals? So, how are we different to the animals? So, these are common both to animals and human beings. But religion is the extra function of the human being, which animals don't have. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Simple as that. So if you're an atheist, you don't believe in God, you don't follow any God's laws, any religious principles, then you're just really not better than any animal. And good chance next life you can become one, if that's what you want. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. Yeah, so there's religion in every society. Okay, so there's this opportunity for everyone to follow. There's like this different, could say, colleges of study, right? They have like slightly different philosophy, but they're still talking about God. In the low stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature. Or in other words, there is continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. So that's in the low stages of human civilization. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities, religious functions in order to gain something material. So most people, they will have some yajna, something, or go to temple because they want something. They're trying to get something. It's like the 4 kinds of people who go to Krishna. One of them is who's material motivated, is after something. He was after some riches. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, the so-called religion is neglected. So if that's just like one option. If you can get it by hook or crook or your own thinking, then you will try that as well. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically. So at present, he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. And we can see that how churches are closing down. I mean, we looking for a temple, and many of these places that have been vacant have been churches, but they still don't, want to give to another religion, but they would rather give to a pub or something like that. You can open a pub or a restaurant. They don't have a problem with that, but they would not give it to any other religion. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Well, what else? This is what money is for. You have money so you can enjoy it. Otherwise, it's just paper or just figures in your account. You want it so you can go on holiday, you can buy nice clothes, nice food, car, etc. You want to enjoy that money or that economic gain. Often when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all the states are simply different types of sense gratification. So even trying to become one with God is also a type of sense gratification, because you're not looking to serve anyone, just looking to serve yourself, right? So if you think like God is impersonal and you just want to become one with him, then you're just looking out for yourself. So what you're going to do there, you want to enjoy the connection. That's it. So in the Vedas, the above mentioned 4 activities are prescribed in the regulated way, so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. The Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all the sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialist because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not free from material and are not only free from material envy, and therefore there is, but are all well wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of competitionless society is artificial because in the socialist state, there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are 3 paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves productivities or gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and its impersonal feature and becoming one with him. So that is far as according to this, that is part of the Vedas goal, becoming one with the impersonal feature of becoming one with God. Or you can go to other planets, or just gain, or one was fruity activities, to promotion to better planets, or you just worshiping demigods, or realizing the absolute truth. But it really does not take you into the full aspect that of a devotee. There is no aspect of a devotee here. The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. That's the key. Above the impersonal feature is the Paramatma feature. And above this is the personal feature of the absolute truth, or Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about the absolute truth in his personal feature. So Vedas just talking about the impersonal feature. Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about the absolute truth in his personal feature. It is higher than impersonal literatures and higher than the Gyan Kand division of the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karma Kand division and even higher than the Upasana Kand division, because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So in the Karma Kand, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification, and there is similar competition in the Gyan Kand and the Upasana Kand. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. So we're talking a lot about, although we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are also promoting Srimad Bhagavatam here because that's part of your process. Because today that's what we're looking at, Abhideya. What is the process to establish a relationship that we have forgotten with Krishna? Yes, on Monday, or rather on Wednesday, we were talking about what is the sabandh, and sabandh actually. So it's we are transcendental servants who we are connected to Krishna in a transcendental loving service. So it's not, sometimes people think, why should I be servant when I can be the master? And that's I have a flow that we want to be masters of our master, or we're masters of material energy, but it's just not possible, right? And this is why we are suffering. We want to be masters, but we have to understand our constitutional position. We are transcendental servants, not just ordinary servants. We are transcendental servants. So it's not that Krishna just keep giving us orders and we keep, doing as he says. It's not like that. Krishna also serves us, and it's a loving service. It's not dictation. He's not dictating that you have to do this. We have a will. We have a choice. We don't have to do it, but then we have to contend with Maya. If you don't want Krishna, then you have to have Maya. You have one or the other. So nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra, which begins with Janmadhyasya Sutra, which we were discussing last night. So this knowledge that the energy of the Lord is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord is an answer to the mental speculators' attempt to establish the energy as the absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conceptions of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of this transcendental consciousness grounded in the conception of simultaneously one and different leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. So that's the conception we are following, simultaneously one and different. The threefold miseries are those miseries which arise from the mind and body. And we all have these three miseries. Miseries from mind and body. There's always a problem. Either the mind is playing havoc, we are stressed, distressed, despondent, something's going on in the mind, or the body is playing havoc, something is wrong somewhere in the body. Those miseries inflicted by other living beings, yes, we don't go out to look for trouble. Trouble comes to us in the form of other people. And you find that, I think we all experience that as well. And three, those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which one has no control. And it is so cold at the moment, and we're feeling it. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee onto the absolute person. So that's the beginning. You surrender to the absolute person who has three features. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute, and at the same time is the eternal position of servant to the absolute. So the devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute. So we are similar, we are spiritual, just like the absolute is spiritual. And at the same time, we are his servants of the absolute, as we just said earlier. In the material conception, one falsely thinks himself the Lord of all he surveys, and therefore he is always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as one comes to know his real position as transcendental servant, which we are, he at once becomes free from all miseries. So that's all we got to do. We got to realize our real position, what we really are, instead of falsely thinking that we are the Lord's. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances. So once you surrender to Krishna, then he'll take over from there. Over and above this, Srimad Bhagavatam is a personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Vyasadeva. It was written in the maturity of his spiritual life through the mercy of Narad. Sri Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all of the Vedic literature, yet he recommends the study of Srimad Bhagavatam above all others. But then you might think, well, then why do we still have other literatures? Well, some of them we can't follow. Like Vedas, we don't have time to read Vedas. They're so, there's so many books on the Vedas. We in one lifetime we can't, probably like 3 lifetimes to get through them. And then you have like Mahabharata, which is there, which is written. You can read. Everybody's in a different stage of the spirituality. They'll get inspiration from Mahabharata and learn about Krishna. So like that, there are other literatures to inspire you, because when we are in different stages, we are in different modes. If you're in mode of passion, then you can read and get inspiration from there. But the idea is to elevate yourself from your position. In other Puranas, there are different methods set forth by which one can worship the demigod. So some people just want to worship the demigod. They want to go to the high planets. That's, that is their interest. That they're not interested in believing that Krishna is God. That they want to enjoy this world lok. That's fine. And there are other people who are saying that in this lifetime, we know this, we'll think about it next lifetime. This time, we have other priorities. That's okay as well. We've been here millions and billions of lifetimes. Well, if you look at it from that point of view, you would think, well, I've been here billions of lifetimes, so what's another lifetime? But a devotee thinks, I have been here millions and billions of lifetimes. Maybe this one I should give to Krishna, right? Even if I don't succeed, just one lifetime of billions of lifetimes, it's not a lot to ask. The Supreme Lord is a total body, and the demigods are the different parts of this body. Consequently, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, one does not need to worship the demigods. The Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of the devotee immediately. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Srimad Bhagavatam as a spotless Puran and distinguishes it from other Purans. So it's Mahapuran, as we say. The proper method for receiving this transcendental message is to hear it submissively. So don't challenge it. Why is this? Why is that? I don't agree with this. I agree with this. Don't challenge. If you respect the literature, the scripture, then you have to respect it and agree with all of it, 100%, not 90, 80, 70%. You have to agree with whatever it says. Yes. A challenging attitude cannot help one realize this transcendental message. One particular word is used herein for proper guidance. This word is shushrushu. So one must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. The desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification. So, this is why we're having this, because devotees want to understand, they want to read, they see this as part of their process. But Bhagavad Gita is a little bit easier, although some people find that difficult as well at first, which is understandable, especially if you start with chapter 1. Think what's happening here, why just talking about war, fighting, what's God trying to tell me? But then it says in chapter 1, purport, that it has to be heard or understood from somebody who has already understood for somebody else, because we are in a disciplic succession and we just passing the message on from one to another as we have heard it from our gurus, and then we pass it on to anybody who's interested. Less fortunate persons are not at all interested in hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. This is the only thing. The process is simple. The Krishna consciousness process is simple, but because we have to do every day, without fail, no holidays, no Sundays off, then it seemed like a difficult thing to do. And you have to give up so many things. So I think maybe next lifetime. Unfortunate people find enough time to hear idle social and political conversations. And they can debate about it for hours, and they can start sending big messages, and they want to hear your opinion. But when it comes to Krishna consciousness, they don't have time or any will to write anything. But when invited to attend a meeting of devotees to Srimad Bhagavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. Sometimes professional readers of the Bhagavatam immediately plunge into the confidential topics of the pastime of Supreme Lord, which they seemingly interpreted as a sex literature. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. So if you heard it from the beginning, then you won't consider it mundane. You understand exactly what's happening here. Those who are fit to assimilate this work, as mentioned in this shloka, one becomes qualified to hear Srimad Bhagavatam after many pious deeds. The intelligent person with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great Saint Vyasadeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, without undergoing different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas. So Vedas is just telling you about Karma Kand, Upasana Kand, and this Gyan Kand, like that. We really don't have patience for bhakti yoga. How are we going to go through all these other processes? And we don't have the lifetime for that anyway. One can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramahansa simply by agreeing to receive this message. So in the previous yoga, people were going to into renounce stage and going off into the forest to become Paramahansas. We can become Paramahansas just by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So where is the problem? So we didn't get to finish the verse completely or discussing last time. There's one thing. There's prayers, because we're talking about Subandh and Abhideya and Prayojan. Each of them have a prayer to solidify this. So the prayer last time for the Subandh is that and these are in Chaitanya Charitamrita, they're written there. And it says, I am a servant of the Lord Chaitanya and the servant of his servant. So that should be our attitude. And there are Acharyas for this. And Sanatana Goswami is the Acharya of Subandha, about the relationship with Lord. And the deity is Madan Mohan. And worshipping this deity solidifies our Subandha Gyan. So we don't understand our Subandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. And so Sanatana Goswami is the Acharya for a Subandha Gyan. And the deity is Madan Mohan. Now, this verse today we're doing is about the process of achieving this relationship. So when you know you are the servant of God, which we establish as Subandha, then how do we connect with him in that relationship? In this yuga, it's by the process of chanting, by avoiding the 10 offenses. So offenseless chanting is the key process, or that's what we aim for. First, it's offensive chanting, and then eventually you want to get to unoffensive chanting. So Acharya for this process of Abhideya is Rupa Goswami, and his deity is Radha Govindji. So they accept service and give inspiration for increasing surrender on the path of Bhakti Yoga. And prayer for this is, O Mahaprabhu, please be merciful to me, so that the 10 offenses never touch my heart and I can always remain absorbed in the rasa. And this is from Harinam Chintamani. So in the first one, we're saying that I'm servant of Lord Chaitanya and servant of servants. And for Abhideya, we're saying, please be merciful to me so that 10 offenses never touch my heart. So I'm never envious. I don't think the chanting Hare Krishna is imagination. We don't give interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. So like that, and chant attentively. So like that, we pray to Mahaprabhu, please help me to perfect my process. So it's also mentioned that the real religion, so we talk about so many religions, right? And we talk about the Vedas. So a real religion is to know God and to love God. That's all we have to do. Because unless we love him, we can't serve him. You're more likely to serve someone if you love them. You love your children, you love your wife, parents, you want to serve them, you automatically want to serve them. Nobody has to force you to serve them. So anything else, Srila Prabhupada said, is cheating religion, which is written here, Projita Katvo. All other religions are. So that is the main religion, to love God. And it says that that's the interesting nature of the soul, that he needs to love God, and that's the only way, it wakes up, it becomes alive, because the Jiva Jago, we are sleeping at the moment. It says that it can't be taken away, that this intrinsic nature can't be taken away, just like heat from fire and sweetness from sugar. They are not, fire, if it doesn't have heat, then we can't class it as fire. And if sugar doesn't have sweetness, we can't class it as sugar. Simple. So same here. Now, if you don't have the connection of love with God, then the soul is sleeping. It needs reviving. So we're talking about the truth. There's a story about the truth. What is the truth? Or what is Kalasa's truth? So it's from the Mahabharata. So it says, once in the Gurukul of Dronacharya, there was a lesson being taught on speaking truth. So Guru Dron said to all Kauravas and Pandavas, always speak the truth, never tell a lie. Then he started asking each student to explain what they learned from that. Always speak the truth, never tell a lie. Everybody said more or less the same thing on their turn, except Prince Yudhishthira. But Yudhishthira said, I'm sorry, respected Guru, I have not yet learned the lesson. Everybody became surprised to hear the answer of Yudhishthira, as he was a very intelligent student. How is it that he could not memorize this simple statement? Guru Dron replied, no problem, you take your time learning the lesson and tell me tomorrow. Everybody started discussing what happened to Yudhishthira. The simple statement. He says, such a bright, intelligent student, he learns lessons very easily, but could not just memorize and speak out one simple sentence today. Prince Duryodhan made, as usual, mockery of him and said, today the truth of Yudhishthira is exposed, that he could not learn even simplest of the lessons. So even Duryodhan learned that. Always tell the truth, never tell a lie. The next day, Guru Dron again asked Yudhishthira, dear Yudhishthira, did you learn the lesson that I taught you regarding the truth? He replied, I'm sorry, but I have not learned today too. This continued for one whole week. Everybody's puzzled, seeing the prince unable to learn a simple lesson. After 1 week, when Guru Dron asked the same question, he replied, respected Guru, I have now learned the lesson. And the lesson is always speak the truth, never tell a lie. Hearing the answer, Duryodhana started making fun of Yudhishthira and said, brilliant answer, Prince Yudhishthira. Finally, you learned the simple sentence after 1 week. He replied, yes, my dear younger brother, as they say in my Anuj. It took me 1 week to completely get out of the clutches of lies. For always speaking the truth. Even a single thought of telling a lie should not come in mind. First day, my mind was surrounded with many lies. Next day, the number of lies reduced. I kept on trying for 1 week, and from yesterday, not a single lie has come in my mind. Now I have learned the lesson and will follow it in my life. Always speak the truth, never tell lie. So the point of the story is that when we hear Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam classes, particularly when we hear something we are familiar with, we always think, I already know that. So this is the point of this exercise. That you think, oh, sometimes they repeated the pastimes in festivals, and I've heard people say, oh yeah, I know this one. Of course you know this one. We hear it every year. You know it. Yeah, is ultimately only true. So when you say I already know that, and kind of turn off a mind from the class, saying I already know that, is ultimately true if we practice it. Okay, you know it, but has it as the penny dropped, has it sunk in? Are you using that in your life? Because if you're not, then you got to keep telling yourself again and again. So if our life and activity exemplify that knowledge, otherwise you haven't really heard it. So what means is that we are familiar with those concepts, or that we have some intellectual understanding or realization of it, but it has not matured into practical realized knowledge. Because what is realized knowledge? Realized knowledge is knowledge that it can use in practice, not just you know it and you've written it down, you might note, you use it in your life. So this is what Srila Prabhupada refers to as armchair philosophy, which means that we hear and discuss spiritual topics without a great concern for implementing them. So I'll leave it here, and we'll like to hear from everyone. What do you think? And if you'd like to share something, it'd be great. Thank you so much. Hina Mataji, maybe start with yourselves. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I think my main takeaway, I made a mental note. The main takeaway from this verse is that Srimad Bhagavatam is all you need, basically. As you covered off in the verse very nicely. It's the main literature for this age, really, and there's just so many lessons that can be derived from it if it's studied well, essentially. And it's not too difficult to understand. So instructive through all the pastimes and through all the leelas and the stories that are outlined as well. So essentially, yeah, that's the key thing for me for today's class is that yeah, if we make this the priority, then yeah, that's all you need really. I think that's Srila Prabhupada outlines in the purport. It's all you need. So I was just reflecting as well around on the points that was covered around about the difference between animals and humans, and that's actually really, if we don't take any steps towards understanding or striving for self-realization and understanding our relationship to God, then really what's the difference between us and animals? There is no difference, essentially. So we have to come up to that human stage of life, essentially. In this, as humans, we're not the general population, you could say, are not really humans. So it's about coming to that stage. And I was just thinking about how in Gully this irreligion will increase as the age progresses. The signs are already there, but it takes a very rare soul who searches for the truth and who wants to pursue their relationship with God. So the environment around us is it's not great in terms of the wider society. And also I was thinking about how it takes a living person, a living being needs to become materially exhausted for them to surrender to the Lord and take to the path of bhakti and elevating themselves from the lower stages of religion where they may be motivated by self-gratification, asking God for this, that, and other things, for example. So it's trying to fulfill their own selfish desires. So yeah, it takes you almost need to get to that stage where you like bottom of the you kind of you're at the bottom really. You realize there's nothing more in this on this earth for you as a living soul that's kind of going repeatedly up and down in the cycle of birth and death, and you kind of realize, right now, my time's up. I need to I need to get out, essentially. And the issue is that we are falsely identifying with the wrong thing. You know, we're identifying with our bodily concepts, our family, our nationality, whereas we really just need to realize that we are just transcendental servants of the Lord and his devotees. And, you know, the solution is simple enough. We just need to reignite that relationship with him. And for this age, it's quite simple. It's, as you covered off, but it's chanting, it's reading, and it's the association of devotees that will get us home. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, and you know, it's so easy, and like you said that most people are living animalistic life, and now it's come to a stage, and we only gone 5,000 years in Kali Yuga, and there are people who think there are animals, or they have like suits made, and they want to look like animals. They want to be animals. You know, what a waste of human life. And they spend like tens and thirties of £1,000 having special suits made that I'm going to live like a dog or a cat or something like that. Really, you know, society is lost. And, you know, who do we blame for that? I guess it's leadership, you know, and too much, you know, people, too much right to do this, right to do that. Everybody can do this, you know, do whatever you want. And there's no education either. And a lot of it is to blame on people in charge of religion as well. You know, they give religion a bad name by their behavior. So people, even if they want to come to religion, they get put off and they run away from it. So it's a sad state of affairs, I'm afraid. Queen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhuji, did you say my name?
Yes, Mataji.
Sorry, Hare Krishna. Yes, the verse beautifully explains the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, how, you know, we don't need any other scriptures, because like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained, you know, what is our eternal position. It's Jivara Surupa Hai Nitya Krishna Das. Our real position is to serve God, be the servant of God and servant of the servant. And Srimad Bhagavatam, you know, was written by Srila Vyasadeva in his maturity, after he's written all the Puranas, and he was still not happy. By the mercy of Narad Muni, then he's written the glorification of the Lord. So, like the last class you mentioned that we got 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas, 108 Upanishads, but Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all these. We haven't got time in Kali Yuga. The life is so short. Memory is, well, I won't say short. There's no memory. It was like people like me can't remember anything. So we don't have to read, you know, or we haven't got time, or we can't read all the scriptures. So we can read Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Bhagavatam, how it helps to eradicate all the threefold miseries, Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, and Adidevic. And then we've been told the instructions how to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. It should be read, you know, heard from a devotee, from a pure devotee. And one should hear it sincerely and submissively. So the word was shu, shu, shu. So we should be anxious to hear, you know, the glories. And also, Srila Prabhupada, I read one of his lectures. He started with what is religion. So, like religion, people will say dharma, and dharma is like translated as faith. But then Srila Prabhupada explains so nicely that the faith changes. People will have faith in different things. But our true dharma is to serve the Lord. But now we are just, everyone is busy serving ourselves, our senses, you know, our families. So we are servants of everyone. But we're not prepared to serve the Lord. But that is our true constitutional position. And that will eradicate. And we can see, you know, when we do a little bit of service, how happy we feel. And when we are in the kirtan, or in the association of the devotees, we don't think of any problems. But as soon as like we step out of the kirtan, then all the things come flooding back. And it also mentioned how the process is easy, and Radharani Mataji always says, application is important. And then you gave the example of Yudhishthir, so when Dronacharya, he said, always tell the truth and never tell a lie. And how he realized how he has to apply that in our life, because even like myself, we learn it like a parrot, but do I apply it in life? It's very hard, So, but I'm trying to work on the two shlokas that we learn in Bhakti Shastri, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, because I think that is very relevant here when they say completely rejecting all religious activities that are materially motivated. So we have to be free from all material desires and all the mental speculations. Then only we can understand Krishna, because it also mentioned, Krishna, the qualification of a devotee, non-envious. So we have to be non-envious, non-desirous, free from all the material desires. And also, like we do Shikshashtakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's given us 8 instructions. One of them is na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. So he says he's not, desiring any wealth or a beautiful wife, but he doesn't even want liberation. All he wants is service to the Lord, birth after birth. So that is our aim. And like you kindly said about Abhideya, how it is, it's a chanting offenseless. So our aim is to do offenseless chanting to reach to that position. And and think of Rupa Goswami. I didn't know that, Rupa Goswami is the Acharya for that. So thank you for sharing that information also, Prabhuji. Thank you so much
Thank
for a
you.
wonderful class. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Jivera Sarupa, Krishnera Nitya Das. That's what we are. Okay. Radharani, you want to add anything? Actually, let me just ask Deepak Prabhu first. Deepak Prabhu, are you able to talk? Because Deepak Prabhu is working, is very kindly joined. He is working at the moment, but he said he will listen. I don't know whether you have to speak, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna ji. I think the a couple of takeaways for me is that one should be listening to Srimad Bhagavatam in an attentively and submissive way. I think that's the most important takeaway. And from somebody who has come in the Sampradaya as well, because obviously nowadays everybody is giving a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam. As if you see on YouTube, there are n number of speakers trying to lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, and they all try to, as Prabhupada say, they all try to kind of deviate from the main path and mold it in the best way that they can, to suit their needs or to suit their culture or whatever. You can say whatever grahana or whatever. I'm not getting the word. Whatever thing that their group that they are organizing it. And another thing that I was reading the purport is that we should avoid competition of any kind. So there might be competitions, when we have that dharma, kam, moksha. So there can be competition among the devotees as well. So somebody is chanting 16 rounds, another one is chanting 18 rounds. Okay, then I'll do this, I'll do that. So that even though it is kind of a healthy competition, but that competition should also be avoided. I mean, everybody is at a different level. And then, apart from the material competition that, okay, he has bought a new car and I need to get a bigger car as well. I think those were my key takeaways. But I also need to, I think that the points that you mentioned about the main DT of and the main Goswami of the both verses is really, really good. I didn't know. I couldn't read it anywhere in the purport as well. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, the material competition is envious. We have envy with people because we want what they have, like that, the envy. The spiritual competition is healthy. So we want to achieve more for Krishna. Even in the spiritual world, there is a lot of spiritual competition. everybody wants to serve Krishna at the best capacity, but there should not be envy. This is the thing, that you can have spiritual competition. There's no harm in that, but it shouldn't be with envy. We should be happy for each other. If somebody's distributing so many Bhagavatas, so many books, or is doing great kirtan, we should be happy for them that they're serving Krishna. So in other words, Krishna should be the center, not us. Why is this person doing better than me? Why can't I sing like him? Why can't I preach like him? Then we're thinking about ourselves. But if we put Krishna in the center, oh, this is so nice. This person has distributed so many Krishna's books. Oh, this is so nice that he is doing such lovely kirtan for Krishna. Krishna has empowered him to do such great kirtan. Always have Krishna in the center, so there's no envy. So without envy, competition is healthy. Competition becomes unhealthy when we put ourselves in front, that we want to get ahead. And people can do some crazy things when it comes to competition. There's like story about people competing or gambling on patients dying in a hospital. Like who's gonna go next? Now this is like really old people or very ill people. They were like gambling on who will die next, and they're putting money on it. Now it's going to be this person, that person, and it came to a point that people who had put a lot of money on were deliberately pulling out the plug to make sure this person dies as they suggested, so they can win the money. Not like that kind of competition can be very, very unhealthy as well. So it should be competition that is spiritually motivated and is there to please Krishna. Whether I'm pleasing Krishna, I'm happy. Somebody else is pleasing Krishna, I'm happy. Srila Prabhupada says that there's like God brothers and like that. When devotees don't get happy that you are succeeding, that is not devotee mentality. Mentality is that you should be happy the person succeeding, because thinking about at least he's getting closer to Krishna, I should also try and get closer to Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, that thing was really a motivator for me. Not that I'm in a competition, but because I'm new to Iskcon and I'm new to Krishna consciousness. I'm slightly an ambitious kind of person, and when I see all those messages in Iskcon Birmingham group, like you rightly mentioned, somebody has distributed so many Bhagavad Gita, somebody has done this, I feel so kind of useless in my attributes, that I'm not contributing too much. But then reading this purport, obviously, then I could gather that not everybody is fit for all the services. You try to please him, and as you rightly said, have Krishna in the center in whatever way you can, please him or do some service for him. So I sometimes see that, okay, I'm head over heels. I really want to have our Krishna temple within Birmingham, and I sincerely try a lot that we can have it. I think that's if Krishna obviously is happy with that, I think that is also part of the service as well. I'm slightly shy of presently going into Harinams and distributing books only because of the culture and the country that we live in. So might be that will come with time, but at least I do try to give my best.
Thank you, Roji. Radharani, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna, everyone. I think most of the points have been covered very nicely by everyone. The only thing which stands out today for me is Gyatava Dharma in the verse, that man-made religion. Man-made religion is the popular demand in our culture, popular within the societies, and anything which is popularized by the celebrities or by the popular culture becomes a normal thing for people to do. But the food for our soul, which is getting closer to Krishna, serve Krishna, is the hardest thing to do. Even we are practicing Krishna consciousness, application becomes really hard. Even when we're trying to apply it sincerely, for example, during our chanting, our minds take us to somewhere else. Even if you're trying to listen to some lecture on YouTube, perhaps, for example, what happens is, instead of listening to your guru, the temptation is, okay, I'll come back to you, guru, in half an hour. Let me do some scrolling and satisfy my mind, because my mind is looking for this. And YouTube, thanks to the artificial intelligence, has become so intelligent that it knows what to prompt for us. So, temptations are there. So when I think, oh God, at our age, we're finding it so hard to deal with these temptations. What to think of the younger generation, who is going to be given more and more temptations as time progresses. They're saying this year is going to be very big on personal artificial intelligence. They're going to focus on that. So I really pray to Krishna that please somehow Jiva Jago, like our Acharyas have sang in their Vaishnav songs. Please do a miracle. These are the 10,000 golden years of bhakti we are in. So something through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya happens that we are able to use our circumstances and everything which Krishna has given in our society, in our lives for us, whether it's devotees, whether it's Prabhupada's knowledge, transcendental knowledge given by Prabhupada, which is coming through Krishna, through our acharyas, through our gurus down to us, transpires beautifully. Somehow something miraculously happens. Because even in this 10,000 years of golden age, I think it's hard. So what's going to happen in future is going to be super, super hard. So the key point I've taken today is it's now or never. So better give this life to Krishna. If we will get somewhere, if not super close to Krishna, we will be at least trying to touch Krishna's feet somehow remotely. If we get up to that level, I think our life will be suffer, will be successful. We have wasted millions and billions of lifetimes, and we are shamelessly happy to do the same again in this lifetime. So this is what the Sangha gives me. Sangha gives me the food for the day, the ammunition for the rest of my day, that somehow I'm going to remember something. Something is going to prompt in my head during the day that, no, don't waste your time. When I'll be tempted to waste, yes, it will happen by the fellows, members or your colleagues or your friends or your family, somehow, something. So I have to keep focused. So yeah, I'll pray for everyone, and please pray for me. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Hare Krishna.
And happy Ekadashi. Hari Hari
Yes.
Bol. Thank you so
Happy
much, everyone.